What if you could take chance out of your life and you could know with certainty that the decisions and choices that you're making would give you the outcomes that you want? That's what principles are all about. And today we're going to talk about the importance of principles. Today we're going to talk about the importance of principles. And just to lay a foundation, again, let's talk about the definition of principles. If you go to the dictionary, there are various definitions of that word. But the definition that I use is a principle is a law or a truth, a natural law, and it exists and operates in the universe in which we live, whether we know about it, whether we understand it, or whether we agree with it. So an example of a physical law or principle is the law of gravity. So gravity exists and operates in the world in which we live. Doesn't matter if I know about it or not. If I step off a cliff, I'm going to fall. If I drop something, it's going to fall. Doesn't matter whether I agree with it. So I don't think gravity exists. Well, it doesn't really matter what I think. It still exists and it still operates. And I don't know how it works, but it does work. So we live in a world that is operated by laws or by principles in the natural and physical world. For example, water will boil at a certain temperature and become steam. Water will freeze at a certain temperature. There are laws that exist that allow us to fly. Those laws are having to do with lift and thrust. And I don't even, again, understand that, but I do know that I can get in a plane and I can fly. So knowing and understanding those principles has changed the world in which we live. The reason that we're able to fly is because we gain knowledge and understanding of the principles that govern flight. The reason that we have electricity today and we have the light bulb and all of that is because somebody took the time and effort to discover the laws or principles that govern that specific thing to create that outcome or that object or service or whatever it is that we enjoy. Well, most of us understand that those laws or principles exist, but there's other areas of our life that principles exist as well, but we don't realize that there are principles that exist and operate. And those areas are areas like happiness and success and relationships. We have all kinds of beliefs that we have accepted or developed throughout our life that may or may not be true. And if we believe something that is not in alignment or is in violation of principle, we're not going to get the outcome that we want. For example, if I've been raised to believe and to think that 3 plus 3 is 6, then every time I come up with 6 as the answer is going to be wrong. Another example, if I believe that my happiness is dependent upon someone else, or that my happiness is dependent on a certain situation or a certain circumstance, I am never going to be in control of the happiness in my life because I don't control my circumstances and I don't control other people. If I believe that happiness is a result of my being able to control other people, I'm not going to be happy because that's a violation of principle. I cannot control anyone other than myself. And with myself, I can only control 3 things. I can control my conscious thoughts, my emotions, and my behavior. So if I believe that in order for me to be happy, I need to be in control of everything in my life, I'm never going to achieve happiness. Happiness would come from the understanding of principles, which is I don't control other people and I don't control external things. I only can control me. Then I change my thoughts to be in alignment with the principles and understanding what I can control and what I can't, and that I can choose to be happy in any circumstance or situation. And then I can look for reasons to create the happiness rather than continuing to think about the reasons that make me unhappy. So if we want to live in a life where we feel like we have control and where we do have control, we need to understand that there are principles, that they do operate and that they do exist and they work the same way all of the time. Life, if it was not governed by principles, life would be chaos, and we would not be able to learn or grow or progress or really have any control over our life. There's a movie that illustrates this. It's a movie called Passengers, and they're in a ship, a spaceship, and the spaceship begins to have problems. When those problems begin to occur, then sometimes the gravity in the spaceship works and sometimes it doesn't. And there's a scene where they're running through one of the corridors in the spaceship and all of a sudden gravity stops working. And so they go flying up into the air because gravity isn't holding them down. And then all of a sudden gravity works again and they come crashing down to the ground. That's what life would be like without principles, without truth. Things would change up on us all of the time and we would not be able to depend on anything. So principles are a good thing. They're very important to us achieving any degree of success and accomplishing any of the goals in our life and learning from the decisions and choices that we make. If it was random and inconsistent, we could never learn because things would be changing all of the time. So principles are very important, and it's important for us to seek out and understand what those principles are. Otherwise, we tend to believe that we do live in a world of chance. And Einstein said, God doesn't play dice with the universe. So he understood that there were rules and laws. And that's my hope for you, is that if there's areas in your life right now that you're unhappy with, or you're not accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish, then just know that there's either one principle or multiple principles that you're either unaware of or that you are aware of and you're not following. Because once you begin to follow them, you will then be able to achieve the outcomes that you want. Thanks for joining us again today. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel and visit our websites and come back and see us again.